We continue on in our study of Revelation in chapter 1, verse 12. I turned around to see the voice that was speaking to me, and when I turned, I saw 7 golden lampstands. And among the lampstands was someone like a son of man, dressed in a robe, reaching down to his feet, and with a golden sash around his chest. His head and hair were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were like blazing fire. His feet were like bronze glowing in a furnace, and his voice was like the sound of rushing waters. In his hand he held 7 stars, and out of his mouth came a sharp double-edged sword. His face was like the sun shining in all its brilliance. One of the problems with the book of Revelation for the average reader is that it's jam-packed with symbols. These symbols are not really as mysterious as you might think, because actually every one of those symbols is coming from the Old Testament, or a few of them from the New Testament. Once in a while John will invent one, but when he does, he has to tell you exactly what it means. And so if we have enough biblical knowledge, we can determine what these symbols really mean. Now, for the modern mind, we sort of have an accessory that goes along with that. Instead of having to spend long dozens, hundreds of hours reading the Old Testament and trying to figure this out, we can just go to Google or some other kind of search engine or some sort of Bible guides that will tell us what these things mean. And there are many reliable ones that will help us understand that when we see that his voice is like the sound of rushing waters, what we're talking about is loud and commanding. Like a waterfall. If you've ever been to a big waterfall like Niagara Falls, I mean, the sound of it just is overwhelming everything. And so we're talking about a commanding voice. And when it says that his eyes were like blazing fire, well, all we mean by that is, that they have power. And that these eyes see in such a way, that they cut through the problems that the world has and the ways in which we can try to hide from God. No, you can't hide from God. His eyes are like blazing fire. It goes on with things like a sharp double-edged sword coming out of his mouth. So it comes right out of the book of Hebrews and other places in the scriptures that talk about this as being the word of God. So when we see the vision with all these symbols, it's quite frightening, but when we break it down, it makes a lot more sense. When he speaks at the beginning, when I turned and saw 7 golden lampstands, well, what is a lampstand? This actually, he explains it. The mystery of the 7 stars that you saw on my right hand and of the 7 golden lampstands is this. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches. So there's no mystery. You can't say, well, actually the lampstands mean something else. He says what they mean. The scriptures tell us what they mean. A lampstand makes sense as a church because a lampstand has several lamps on it, just like a church has several believers on it. And then a lamp itself has a light, and then it has a structure which holds that light, and that's us. We're the structure, and God himself is the light. And so it's an extended metaphor to talk about the church as a lampstand, but there's really no mystery to it. I mean, he explains exactly what it is. And if we are able to unravel one by one the mysteries of Revelation, it takes it from a terrifying book of mysterious visions down to being something that has actual practical everyday lessons for us and can show us how to find hope in difficult times.